Charlie Bird, Cosmo the Cougar at BYU from 2015 to 2018. Thank you so much for being part of Three Questions.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, you recently wrote an op-ed piece in the Deseret News wherein you revealed yourself as Cosmo the Cougar and also that you are gay. Why are you doing that now?
I guess in a way it was my double coming out, and I'm doing this now because I realize that I have this platform that I've been given and I have a voice, and being gay and growing up as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and being at BYU, I've been through a lot of perceived shame and isolation, the way the culture is and the way it's set up, and I've met a lot of people who are in the same boat, and it's a struggle. It's very difficult for a lot of people to reconcile beliefs and faith and family and relationships with their sexual orientation. And I ultimately decided that this was something I wanted to do because I had a voice and I wanted to give a voice to those who may not have the same opportunity.
How much pressure was it for you to keep your identity as Cosmo a secret and your sexual orientation a secret at the same time? I would imagine that's pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely pressure. I think the difference was the Cosmo secret I loved keeping, and it was exciting because it's kind of fun and it's almost like a game. How many games can I miss? And my roommates asked me, you know, I'm thinking excuses. Why didn't you go to the football game? Oh, I had to work, or I was doing this, but I was at every game, you know, and that was fun. The pressure to hide my sexual orientation was a lot more difficult and felt very heavy, like a big weight. I guess a lot of that pressure came from, as I said, the environment and the culture and the things people would say. I was hypersensitive to any word or phrase or attitude towards the LGBTQ community. And a lot of that pressure I put on myself because I was trying to figure out who I was and asking a lot of questions that there aren't just easy answers for.
So what was it that made you say, you know, I have to reveal who I really am here? I have to reveal not just the Cosmo, but that this is who I am deep down inside, that I am a gay man and LDS.
I think a turning point for me was when I realized that being gay is not something that I'm just experiencing or this challenge that I need to get over, but it's actually something that is an integral part of who I am. And I truly believe that God created me this way and accepts me this way, and that I can reach people in special ways because of my sexual orientation and the way that has molded me to a certain way. And as soon as I made the shift from running away from it or trying to change it or hoping it would go away to trying to embrace it and look at it head on and ask hard questions, that's when I started wanting to be more visible, because I know there's a lot of people who are in the same arena.
For all the progress that has been made in the dialogue between the LGBTQ community and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, it is true that those two entities are on a collision course, culturally, doctrinally, socially, in a lot of ways. How do you reconcile being a Latter-day Saint and being part of the LGBTQ community?
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like I'm very much the apex of this collision course. I can't deny either side because they're both part of who I am and part of who I've become. And I don't like sides. I don't think we should have to choose sides. I'm Charlie Bird. I'm not a gay member, or I'm not a member of the church, and I'm not a gay man. I'm just me, and both of those are parts of my identity that I love and have created me and formed the person I am. And so that's how I reconcile it, just being truly myself and being authentically me and not feeling like I have to choose either side because I disagree with that sentiment.
Going forward, though, I mean, you're going to grow and develop, and you have relationships and all of those things. The church is very staunch in its position as to LGBTQ behaviors, and the LGBTQ community is very staunch and and determined in its position in relationship issues. How do you see yourself going forward in that environment?
It's definitely a gray area, and there's a lot of things to figure out. As far as right now, I want to start conversations that are positive and build bridges, because I think for too long there's been this separation, and these are families. These are families and children of God and loved ones and cousins and brothers. And I feel like this separation is creating a lot of issues that are hurting relationships that should be meaningful. And so as of right now, I am purely seeking to increase understanding between these communities that I love.
Let's talk about Cosmo for just a second here.
Okay.
How do you get to be Cosmo, and who on campus knows who you really are?
Ooh, okay. Tryouts are difficult. Cosmo tryouts, we do them every 6 months, twice a year. And essentially what it is they test your physical abilities to their limits. We max out push-ups, running, sit-ups, pull-ups, bar hangs, a lot of different just things to completely tire you out. Then, once you're tired, that's when the tryout begins.
Oh my.
Yeah, because, I mean, this suit is heavy, it's hot, it's never comfortable, so they want to make sure that you can perform well when you're at your lowest physical ability. So then there's a series of flips and dancing and trampoline and standing tricks and kind of crowd interaction to see if you're awkward or not. I'm only slightly awkward, so somehow I squeaked by. Tryouts are nerve-wracking and kind of, every time I go, I'll be like, really, I have to do this again? Come on, I'm already on.
It's on multiple days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you make it through certain levels of the tryout, then there's in-suit tryouts. You'll do some smaller events and see how your persona is and if you can take on the character, because Cosmo really is a character.
Yeah.
And you have to be Cosmo. You can't be you.
Yeah, you can't be Charlie Bird. You got to be Cosmo.
Yeah, I can put my own spin on Cosmo, but it still has to represent the ideal of Cosmo.
Right. So who all knows who you are?
So the Cougarettes obviously knew that I was Cosmo. I did a lot of work with them. Cheer Squad, Spirit Squad, many of the dunk team. I don't know if you've seen us on the trampoline.
Oh, yeah.
I was also on the dunk team as well. And so there's crossover within athletics and people we work closely with, but that's pretty much it. I had a few roommates and friends that figured it out just because I probably smelled really bad after all the football games. But I kept it as tight as I could.
Did you ever get in a situation where you were just totally exhausted, you could not go on, and it was still the middle of the game?
Oh, always. But something about putting on this suit is kind of like a superhero. You put it on and you can do anything, and at least for me, every time I was in it, I was completely invigorated and with adrenaline every single time. Then you take it off and you just collapse in the corner. You've got to spritz you with a water bottle, wake you up.
How often do they wind up cleaning that suit?
Luckily, we now have someone that does it for us.
Really?
And I'm so thankful, because a couple times I used to take it to my apartment, and that just adds a whole level of hiding it from the roommates. And college dorms don't have good washers and dryers. So we're lucky, and usually it's pretty much washed after every event, because it's just,
completely.
Gotta keep Cosmo smelling fresh.
You think? Now, there's a tremendous amount of secrecy around being Cosmo. How did you balance self-promotion as Cosmo and not revealing your true identity?
Self-promotion in what way?
Well, in terms of, I mean, you had a Twitter account and you have Facebook, and you people got to know where all this stuff is coming from. I mean, how do you balance being Cosmo with being Charlie Bird and not revealing who you really are?
I guess just that I'm friends with Cosmo. Being on the dunk team really helped, because everyone knows that the dunk team helps Cosmo with his stunts. So it was natural that there'd be overlap there. And I mean, I ran Cosmo's Instagram account, and so I knew exactly what Cosmo was doing and what he was posting, and I tried not to give it too much overlap to, try to keep my own identity secret.
Did anybody come close to knowing who you were?
there's this lady, and I think she's in Washington. If you're watching, I love you. You're amazing. But she figured it out, and she's become like an internet friend, and she messaged me, and she figured it out about a year and a half ago after the first dance went really viral. And she was so cute. She's a grandma, and she would tell me about how her grandkids loved Cosmo. And so
How did she find out?
she watched me dance in other people's Instagram stories.
Oh.
Just me like at a dance or at a party, and she was like, "That's the same moves," and I was like, "You're such a sweet lady, and you're the smartest lady." So she got it.
When the video went viral, were you surprised by that? And how much preparation went into that video?
Less preparation than most people think, probably. I was surprised the first time I've been, without trying to sound like full of myself, Cosmo's been viral quite a few times for dancing. And after the first one went viral, it had around 30 million views across different people sharing on it in Instagram and Facebook. And so the second one I wasn't expecting. I thought like it had happened and it was done. I was wrong. Because it went crazy, and
How many views?
I don't have an exact number, but I was keeping really good track, and I lost count at 875 million.
875.
And that was about a year ago.
million?
And this is aggregate Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Okay.
And you know how it kind of splices off, and there's so not one video has that many hits. But I was saving them, and as fast as they were coming out, trying to gather them up so I could keep a running total. So I'm sure it's now well over 1 billion, which is wild.
And so who's monetizing all of that? You or the school?
I wish. I'm not sure. Hopefully, I know the school's gotten a lot of positive press. So,
What is the best part of being Cosmo the Cougar?
connecting with individuals. Cosmo does a lot of community outreach. He works with the Mascot Miracles Foundation with children with special needs and terminal illnesses, and we do a lot of hospital visits. And it's amazing to be able to connect to someone on an individual level and help them feel loved. And there's a lot of people who are hurting and have different challenges. And somehow, as Cosmo, I was able to be in these experiences with families who are in really tough situations, and somehow help them transcend the worry and fear and negativity and just be in this place of having fun with Cosmo.
But you can't say anything.
I couldn't say anything, no.
How do you do that and remain
Pantomime.
silent?
I'm probably using too many hands right now just because I'm kind of in that Cosmo mode. A lot of times I would bring someone with me to have conversation and explain things if needed.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very individual, and I mean, you got to stay in character. So
Yeah. Cosmo the Cougar does all kinds of crazy stunts. How dangerous is it, really?
don't try this at home, kids. That's my final answer. Don't try it at home.
I mean, you're covered with the mask. You can't see anything.
There's limited visibility. It's heavy. You have to have really good air awareness and spatial recognition. And a lot of practice go into the stunts, especially the more dangerous ones.
Dangerous ones.
You know,
What's the most dangerous one you've ever done?
coming out as gay.
No.
That's what, we'll just keep it there.
Well, in fact, let me ask you that question, and that's this. There's a lot of mystery around the Cosmo character.
Right.
Which was more difficult for you, coming out as Cosmo or coming out as gay? And I suspect I know the answer.
Well, it's funny because neither one I ever expected to do. I didn't want to tell people I was Cosmo because I liked having the secret, and I probably thought it was good for my personal pride, you know, to keep me humble. Coming out as gay was different because this is something that I hid for so long, and as I said, I was running from and trying to pretend like it wasn't a real thing, but it kept catching up with me, and it was very difficult. Coming out as gay was definitely a lot harder because there's a lot of misunderstandings and there's a lot of things I had to grapple with in a world where there's not really solid answers for anything. And it's made me rely really heavily on my friends and family members, especially the ones I came out to towards the beginning. And it's made me rely on my relationship with God and Jesus Christ, because I've had to pray and really seek for personal revelation of why I'm here and what my purpose should be. And it's also given me a lot of empathy for other people who are isolated or kind of on the outskirts of society in any type of way, any minority groups. And I've learned a lot, but it's been very difficult. I feel confident and happy now. And I honestly, if you would have told me 2 years ago that I would be publicly coming out, I would have said you were crazy, because it just seemed like an impossibility because no one knew.
Is it possible to be an active Latter-day Saint and keep your integrity as a gay man?
I think I have to answer yes. It has to be possible, because that's who I am. And I'm not going to sacrifice my beliefs and my relationship with Christ because I'm gay, because I think he knows I'm gay. And I think he loves me. I know he does. And at the same time, I'm not going to sacrifice accepting that this is part of who I am and pretend it's something that is temporary or just happening to me and that I should try to overcome or change, because I disagree with that too. And I firmly believe that the gray area can be navigated, and it's very difficult. And to anybody who's watching this who is trying to navigate this gray area of faith and sexuality, I want you to know that you are not alone. And there are support and resources out there, but there's other people just like you who are doing this too, and you can reach out and reach out to me, reach out to anybody you trust. And I know I personally was surprised with the support and understanding that I've received, and I will give that back to anybody 1,000-fold.
What would you say is the biggest challenge facing active Latter-day Saints who are part of the LGBTQ community?
I think one of the biggest challenges would be, I guess, the community and members of the church not fully recognizing that there are so many LGBTQ people around them. And a lot of times, whether intentionally or not, things are said and done that are very hurtful. And as an LGBTQ person, I see that and I feel that. And it feels like, it makes me want to hide and step back and be ashamed. And I think that happens a lot. I want members of the church and members of the community to realize that there are gay people in their classes and who are their teachers and in their places of worship and in their rec league soccer. Mm-hmm. There are gay people everywhere, and a lot of people don't have a voice and maybe haven't said anything. And so being inclusive and positive and doing your best to show visible love and support to this community that's kind of been marginalized will have a huge impact.
What is the next professional step for a college mascot?
I don't know.
What are you doing now?
Right now, I'm working in Manhattan. I'm doing consulting. I'm doing a lot of international travel, and that's been interesting. I miss performing, I will say that. So I miss performing, everyone.
Somebody
call
call
me to
him.
perform. I can dance.
Would you ever be interested in a position like the Jazz Bear, or?
The Jazz Bear is cool.
Yeah?
Why not? I don't know. I don't know how kosher that would be now that everyone knows who I am.
Yeah.
But I love being a mascot. I love connecting and performing, and there's something really invigorating about just being in front of people and being able to create positivity and excitement.
Yeah. So typically, what does a college mascot go on to do professionally?
I know many who have done professional mascot work. A lot have ended up working marketing for different professional sports teams. Some of us become consultants, others become teachers. It's not our only identity. There's other things. I was a global supply chain major. I know other past Cosmos who have done medical field, a variety.
So your doctor could be Cosmo.
Your doctor could be Cosmo.
So, Charlie Bird, what lies in the future for you? Where do you see yourself 10, 15 years down the road?
I've learned to not give myself exact expectations because it seems like every time I make a plan, it's wiped out from under me. I see myself being happy, and I see myself still doing the best I can to be a good person and be kind and loving and seek for positive change in any way I can.
Okay. What does that look like professionally? What does that look like socially? What does that look like culturally?
I'm only 25.
I know these are hard questions for such
There's
a
a
young
lot I'm
buck
trying
like
to figure
you.
out right now. I think professionally, I'm obviously pursuing a career in international business negotiations. I love cultures and diversity and learning about people through traveling. And culturally, I think I'm kind of placing myself now as a middle ground between the LGBTQ community and the LDS community. And I hope that I can continue to be an inspiration and a role model for others, because I think we're in need of good role models and support. And there are many amazing resources in Circle, Affirmation, NCAA Common Ground that have been great helps to me and opened my eyes in a lot of ways, and I see myself hopefully becoming involved with those. Love Loud is another great organization that's done a lot for my communities, and so I would love to be more involved in those initiatives that have been helpful and been net positive.
Well, Charlie Bird, Cosmo the Cougar from 2015 to 2018, thank you so much for being part of 3 Questions.
Thank you.